the sound in this is, with the decibel sounds, is 45 decibels from normal equipment and running like that would be like this, 45. But with a wind turbine, it goes 45, 45, 45, because you'll hear the 45 decibels at their max, is what they're claiming, and then 0. So instead, that's like tapping on this once a second, while they're up at their maximum turbine. So, I mean, that's how they explain it, and compare that to what you have. Now, my voice sound may not be 45 decibels. It may be relatively quieter than that, not sure. But my other point is that when you're sitting out there in the morning or in the evening on your deck, and they say that the shadow flicker is only going to be 20 minutes, and it's up to 30 hours a year, max. But you go and take that out, and if it's 20 minutes in the morning on your side and say you only get it on one side of your house, that's up to 90 days a year is what they're asking for. So we're trying to go on the committee to figure this out, but a way for everybody, the average person, to go and imagine this is a silo 60 foot tall approximately, barns between 30 and 40 feet tall, house 30, your average tree 50 to 60 foot tall. So sit out in your yard in those 20 minutes in the morning and the 20 minutes in the evening and watch how those shadows travel across. According to the American Wind Energy Association, towers, the wind turbines effects for those are up to 1.1 miles. And that's according to the American Wind Energy Siting Handbook. Well, you go and look at that, and I know that as they go and dissipate and the distance of them go away, but it's just a little research for everybody to do and things to go and how we're looking into this is you go and look at structures you have now, see how far that travels out there, but these don't move. I mean, they may affect a neighbor and you may shadow their house, but they don't move, which is things that we have to justify on whether or not, and what we asked last night is whether or not to put the sensors up in the units so that way they shut down, which would be fair to everybody. So if you got flicker, it shuts down. It's only 30 hours a year that the turbines would be shut down. So if they're only saying 30 hours a year, then what's the big deal to shut the turbines down for 30 hours a year? Is the way I'm looking at it, but I understand their rights to put them in, but I think proper setbacks, and noise restraints is what we're looking at, not to exclude them. I don't believe in excluding them. I think they have their rights and their purpose for them, so that's where I'm at with that, just so a little different take than what Russ gave us, and he gave us that report, but that's where we're looking at, and that's what, and we're looking at all the other impacts also, so thank you.
My name's Ed Miller. I live in Ogden Township. I live on Thompson Highway. Front of my house faces east, which is right in Ragged Township. Back of my house faces the west. April 23rd, I turned on TV. I was up early and I ended up watching the U.S. Farm Report. Anybody watch that? I'm sure farmers have. That was an interesting show. I wish they would have taped it. Toward the end of the show, Mr. Phelps was hosting the show, and I think he's been hosting the show for over 17 years. He's also a farmer in Illinois. He just started talking about wind turbines and how ineffective and inefficient they are. He started talking about the UK just threw cold water on their project, but they're tired of throwing their money away. He brought up Texas, which is a mega state for wind turbines right now. And when they're producing their peak energy, the best energy they can produce is trivial. It's absolutely important. Last weekend, Mother's Day weekend, beautiful weekend. I get up and I make me a coffee and the sun's out and I'm listening to all the finches and the wrens and doves and cardinals, and watching the red-tailed hawks flying above me and watching the sun come up, drinking my coffee. And I'm thinking how much longer I'm going to be able to do this without seeing a 500-foot, 50-story wind turbine with the sun coming up behind it. And in the backyard, evening time, I got a deck back there and I cook on a grill. Same thing. When the sun sets, what am I going to be looking at? The other thing is, anybody ever taken consideration, besides our welfare health, what about the wildlife? Really. In the fall, I love being out in the fall. The climate's changing, the colors are changing. I'll hear a sound sometimes, I think it's cats fighting. I look up in the air, and this is no lie. I see 300 sandhill cranes migrating over my house. And they're approximately right around 500-foot range, if I had to guess. And what about, the Canadian geese that come through? Cooper's hawks that chase doves and pigeons. You know, they're not gonna time themselves going through them turbine blades for that dove, for that pigeon. The other thing is I've heard some stories about, you know, in Utley, that there are some farmers that signed up for the turbines and have filed lawsuits since because the vibrations from these turbines has decimated the worm population. Now, as a kid, I don't know if anybody's done that, but when I was a kid, I used to lay underneath a shade tree, and then you move around a little bit, and you got up, and guess what was under you? A whole bunch of worms, you know, and you could go fishing because of the vibration of your body being on that, underneath that shade tree. Well, just think of that a million times over when them turbines are moving. Worms are natural drainage. Even though you've got tile, you need the worms. And I wonder if this gentleman over here from Exxon could comment on the fact that there might be a lawsuit up there in Utley pertaining to that.
I'm not a lawyer.
You never heard nothing about it?
I really haven't.
Okay, that's all I got, thank you.
Dave Porter. Apparently, everybody has pretty, I think the word I want to use, opinions. And it really kind of bothers me that I get thrown in this category that, you know, farmers sign these leases just for the money. I don't know why people sign leases. Everybody signs for whatever reason. But I signed because I looked at what I thought it could help the community. Yes, they're big. Yes, I'm not sure I want to look at them, but I think I'll get used to them.
And what if you don't?
But, excuse me?
What if you don't?
Let him speak. He's got.
If someone can tell me where else we can get this kind of tax revenue, I'm all ears. And I really don't want my taxes raised, but I can see that coming down the road because there's too many things going wrong around our community, especially the roads. You guys spent a lot of time talking about that tonight. I'm not sure, you know, what's going to happen in the future with that. But I guess, you know, a lot of things were brought up about what's going to happen to the land. This gentleman asked about the concrete. Mark, we took pictures of, got a lot of water out there. Well, you know, as landowners, the contract that we signed specifies a lot of these things. And when we signed those, we took on that responsibility, and we are being compensated for those issues. So I don't really see that that is anything the township really needs to even be concerned over, because it's our property. If our ground is wet, it's wet. It's nothing to do with Ogden Township. And if for some reason, 20, 30 years down the road, they decide to leave and they take the concrete off 6 foot from the surface, you know, that's something we'll live with, but it's our problem, it's not the township's problem. I don't understand some of that argument. The issues of flicker and sound, the visual, you know, if that's something you guys can't live with and you don't see the good that could be brought from it, well then that's your opinion. But I think you need to be a little more open-minded to what the good that can possibly come from this, not just look at all the negatives.
Can I ask Mr., just real quick,
Dave.
Can I ask Dave one question? If you really seriously are talking about this, as I'm Eric Martis again, about the betterment of the community and all, and if this isn't about the money, then would you be willing to donate all your monetary gains from this back to the township? Because if you want to help the community and look at that, would you be willing to do that? So that way it's a good faith effort because you want these that bad and it's not about the money.
Let me ask you this, if I was willing to do that, what would you be willing to give?
I already am. I'm giving up my quiet, I'm giving up my turbines, I'm giving up all that. And, you know, if I'm giving up all the shadow flicker, I have to give up, that I have to put up with all the stuff that you're willing to go and donate your land to do. And are you in the group of the rest of the farmers? If this was about green energy, then truly about green energy, then you guys should all be willing to donate the land and donate all your money back to the community, so that way it's better for everybody, because if that's truly what it's about, then maybe that's what we ought to look into.
Okay, so we go through our lives accumulating properties and our hard work to.
You still get to
To
farm
build
it.
up.
You still get to farm it,
And
so
you
you can
expect
just
us to
donate
just-
them.
Okay, I'll tell you what, if there's a turbine put on mine and Sandy's property, I will donate any money from that for the first 10 years to a charitable organization of my choice, not yours.
No, I'm saying the township, because you said it's better for everybody in the community, and to do that because of the taxes and the roads and everything, wouldn't it make more sense?
All right, that's it. Larry?
Larry Clark, I live in Mulberry. We went to, I want to address the issue about the tax that you're talking about. We went to the seminar that they put on down to Blissville at the American Legion or VFW Hall there, I believe it was. And we walked through and we made it a point to stop and talk to different people there from Great Lakes and Exelon. And one of the guys that we talked to was talking about the benefit of the taxes. And I have yet to see in black and white, other than the information that he had, and we asked for a copy. My wife and I were together and we asked the gentleman, you know, he's talking about the benefits for us. We asked him if we could have a copy of that. And he said, oh, no, that's my copy. I have yet to see where Ogden Township and Blissville schools are going to benefit from the tax value of this. If it's there, would you please present it?
I'd like to see it too.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, you know, we're talking about all the benefits that this is going to give the community. Well, so far, that's just hearsay. We don't see anything in black and white. You know, and from my understanding, the money's going to go, and I could be wrong, but the money's going to go to the county first, and then be divided amongst the other townships in the county. So they're going to benefit from our expense of having this in our community.
Can I?
Yes, you can interject anything you like. That's why I'm asking this question,
Yeah.
Jim.
Well, those go on as, you know, if they go up and they go under personal, they have to file a personal tax statement with the assessor in the township. And the value, whatever is set on those things, Larry, then is whatever our millage that we have, and that builds that would be added to your taxable value, your tax base.
Okay.
Same as our land.
Okay.
And then whatever we levy millage against, that's the amount of money you receive based on the taxable value. Say if they're put up at $3 million, that would be $1.5 million, which would be 50% of that.
Okay.
That would be added to your taxable value.
Well, I would think
That's
that
how it works.
I would think that if that's one of the main benefits of this whole process that we're going through, along with the green energy, that there would be something in black and white. They've got an estimation. It's going to cost approximately $3 million to put them up. Okay. So based on what you just told me, somebody ought to be able to figure out a formula and tell me how much money Ogden Township's going to get in Blissville schools. Not Cambridge Township or any of the others in the community.